Hey there everyone, I just wanted to create a small little video to show what I did to the steering shaft on my S10. I had a wore out rag joint and decided that I wanted to upgrade to something that was more solid and utilize universal joints out of a 1988 to 1994 Jeep Cherokee. So just to show you guys, this was the steering shaft that I ordered from Amazon. When I got it, I think it was around like $45. This was the price that I, just from today, clipping a screenshot of it. But as you can see, it's a LabWorks steering shaft. The part number right there is 4713943. So just to start off with, make sure that when you go to remove your OEM steering shaft that your tires are set directly forward. That way you can get access to the bottom bolt and to the top. It also ensures that your steering wheel is going to be perfectly straight when you go to install the modified steering shaft. So some of the tools you're going to need for this, I used a 3/8 drive ratchet, a 10-inch to 12-inch extension, a 7/16 socket, and a 5/8 wrench. Using the 7/16 socket and the extension, you're going to want to remove this bottom bolt where the rag joint is, and then that'll allow you to slide your bottom half of your shaft up. It can be a little tricky, so you might need to use a pry bar. Once you have it lifted off the shaft of the steering box, then just take it out and remove it. That way you've got a little bit more room to take apart the top piece. For the top piece, that's where I use the 5/8 wrench. There's a bolt connected to a little stubby shaft on the back end. Once you get that nut off, you can then push the bolt that's holding those two pieces together out right here at the top, and then that allows you to take the top piece, the top universal joint, off from the OEM setup. The modification to the new steering shaft is pretty easy. As you can see from the top picture, there are two stamps to hold the two pieces together. All you have to do is basically drill those two stamps out on either side. So you don't have to drill all the way through, just enough just to free up the inside shaft. Once you've got both of those both sides drilled out, you can pull the two halves apart. After you have the two halves apart, what I did was, just to help with the reassembling later, I took the same 1/8 inch drill bit and drilled a hole 1 1/4 inch from the top half universal joint. That way, when you're sliding back in, because this steering shaft is a lot longer than the OEM one that was just removed, you're going to have to push it all the way up to the top, and it creates a little bit of suction between the two halves. So this top additional hole helps move both pieces in and out when reassembling. As for the bottom half, to get it to work for this application, I had to sand away pretty much all the coating on both sides. You can use a metal file or sandpaper to get rid of the paint here. I personally used a Dremel with a sandstone just to make it a little quicker. And then to get the length right, all I had to do was remove 1 inch of material from the end. So you could either use a metal hacksaw or an angle grinder, which is what I use to speed up the process. The final installation is pretty self-explanatory. What you're going to want to do is insert the top piece first, so the top universal joint will slip over the short little stubby shaft that connects to the steering wheel. Once you've got it slid over, and once you get it on, you'll know it'll bottom out. Once the universal joint bottoms out, tighten that bolt. First of all, apply Loctite to it, and then tighten that bolt all the way down. I think the recommended torque spec for the Jeep I could find was 30 foot-pounds. You could use that torque spec here. It should be the same. The only thing I would recommend is to make sure that this is actually snug. That way that top piece doesn't come off. And applying the red Loctite will help make sure it stays in place through the heat and the vibrations that go through this part of the shaft. Once you got the top piece bolted on, simply slide in the inner bottom half of the shaft and push it all the way up to the top. That way you can get a nice fitment on the steering box. And then you should be able just to slip the U-joint, the bottom U-joint over the steering box shaft, and then just tighten it with the bolt as normal. The OEM torque spec for this is 26 foot-pounds. I think I tightened this one about the same, so I made sure that it has a crush washer attached to it. I made sure the crush washer was crushed all the way, and then applied another quarter of a turn. As you can see from these two pictures, on the left is the OEM setup, and on the right is the modified steering shaft. Just a couple quick notes just to help with the assembly process on the modified steering shaft. I drilled the top hole, like I said before, for the suction. If you have a little bit of grease laying around, it doesn't hurt to put it on the shaft going inside the other shaft. That way you prevent rust, and it just helps with the assembly process to be a little easier. You could go back through, and instead of leaving bare metal, you could grind out a little more or sand a little bit more and repaint this and then reassemble it as normal. I didn't think it was going to be a problem, so I just left it. If you guys have any questions, just please comment down below in the video. This was something, it was a very quick modification, and it alleviated all the slop in my steering going side to side. I think I had like a full, not even joking, a full 10 degrees worth of slop with my rag joint. So let me know what you guys think, and thank you for watching.